The sons of Behemat take the first turn and choose Intimidate the invaders as their battle tactic. Kraken Eater uses his finest hour. Kraken uses Get Arf Me Land and kicks the objective away 8 inches. King Broad prays and receives Shatter the Mountains. Both Man-Crusher Gargants run. Kraken then shoots at the unit of Endrin Riggers. The Riggers use all-out defense. Kraken deals 3 damage. The Kraken Eater charges into the Longbeards and deals 2 damage with his crushing charge. King Broad benefits from the End of Empire's ability from Kragnos but fails his charge. Kraken piles in and stuffs 2 Longbeards into his net. Kraken Eater uses all-out attacks and finishes off the rest of the Longbeards. Controlling more objectives than the Duardin and completing their battle tactic, the Suns score 5 points. The Kharadron battle tactic is Surround and Destroy. The Archanaut Admiral uses Heroic Leadership and King Broad uses his finest hour. The Navigator tries to read the winds. The Navigator uses his Stormcaller ability to re-roll 5 dice. Navigator deals 2 damage to Kragnos and halves his movement. The Rune Lord prays and receives Ancestral Shield, giving the Iron Drakes a 6 ward. A unit of Riggers runs. The frigate uses Fly High. The Riggers shoot at the Kraken and deal 1 damage. Then the Iron Drakes use their Cinder Blast bombs and deals 1 damage to the Kraken. Then the Drakes shoot at the Kraken and deal 10 damage. Next, the frigate uses all-out attacks and shoots at a Man-Crusher Gargant and deals 9 damage. Controlling 3 objectives and completing their battle tactic, the Overlords score 4 points. During the battle shock phase, Kragnos and the 2 Man-Crusher Gargants take the frost penalty. 1 Man-Crusher suffers 1 wound and Kragnos suffers 3 wounds. Then Kraken Eater, Runelord, and Iron Drakes suffer the frost penalty. Runelord and Iron Drakes both suffer 2 wounds. The Kharadron Overlords win priority and choose to go first. The Kharadron battle tactic is Boots on the Ground. The Admiral fails Heroic Leadership and the Kraken fails Heroic Recovery. The Navigator reads the winds and uses his Stormcaller ability to re-roll 5 dice. The Navigator chooses the frigate to receive favorable conditions and moves 5 inches. The Runelord prays and receives Ancestral Shield, giving the Iron Drakes a 6 ward. The Admiral, Navigator, and Endrin Master disembark from the frigate. The Riggers shoot at the Man-Crusher Gargant and deals 1 damage. The Admiral uses Bring Every Gun to Bear ability and chooses the frigate. The frigate shoots at the Man Crusher but misses all of its shots. The Iron Drakes shoot at the Kraken. Kraken uses all-out defense. The Iron Drakes deal 1 damage. A unit of riggers shoot at the Kraken and deal no damage. The other unit of riggers shoot at Broad and deal 1 damage. Holding more objectives and completing their battle tactic, the Overlords score 5 points. The Sun's battle tactic is Splat. Kragnos uses his finest hour. Broad fails his prayer and receives 1 damage. Admiral uses heroic leadership. One Man Crusher runs. The Kraken Eater uses all-out attacks and shoots at the Rimlord and kills him. Then a Man Crusher shoots at a unit of riggers and deals no damage. Then the other Man Crusher shoots at the other unit of riggers. That unit of riggers uses all-out defense. The Man Crusher deals no damage. Broad charges into a unit of Endrinriggers and takes them out with his crushing charge. The Kraken charges into the riggers and deals 4 damage with his crushing charge. Kragnos benefits from the End of Empire's ability and charges into the frigate and deals 2 damage to the Sky Wardens embarked on the frigate. Then the Wardens unleash Hell and deal 2 damage. Then a Man Crusher charges into the riggers and deals 1 damage with his crushing charge. At the end of the charge phase, Kragnos uses his Bellows of Rage abilities and deals 2 damage to the riggers. The Kraken uses Earth-shaking Roar on the riggers but fails. Then Kragnos fails to roar the frigate. Then the Man Crusher stomps the riggers and deals 1 damage. Kragnos uses his mace to attack the frigate and the hooves and tusks into the Wardens. The frigate uses all-out defense and Kragnos uses all-out attacks. The frigate takes 4 damage and the Wardens take 4 damage. The riggers then attack the Man Crusher and miss all their attacks. The Kraken piles into the Iron Drakes and fails to stuff anyone into his net. Kraken Eater attacks the lone rigger with Death Grip and his club and Stomp go into the Drakes. Kraken deals no damage to the rigger and kills off the unit of Drakes. The rigger then stands in defiance against his foe and attacks the Kraken and deals 2 damage. Next the Man Crusher attacks piles into the other lone Endrin rigger and stuffs him into his net. The Wardens then attack Kragnos and deals 2 damage. Then the frigate attacks Kragnos and deals no damage. At the end of combat, Kragnos uses his bellows of rage and deals no damage to anyone. In the battle shock phase, the frost geysers deal no damage. Holding more objectives than the Duardin and completing their battle tactic, the Suns score 5 points. The Kharadron win priority and choose to go first. The Kharadron battle tactic is mobilize the fleet. The Admiral uses heroic leadership and Broad uses heroic recovery. The Navigator attempts to read the winds and, not being able to see clearly, uses Stormcaller to re-roll all the dice but fails to see anything. The Admiral, Navigator, and Endrin Master all disembark from the frigate. A unit of riggers retreats. The Admiral uses disengage on the frigate. Next, the Admiral, Navigator, and Endrin Master embark back onto the frigate. The lone rigger shoots at the Kraken and deals 1 damage. The Wardens then take aim and shoot at Kragnos. The Wardens use all-out attacks and Kragnos uses all-out defense. The Wardens deal 3 damage. The Admiral shoots at Kragnos and deals no damage. Then the Navigator shoots at the Destruction God and deals no damage. Next, the frigate turns its guns on Kragnos but deals no damage. Kragnos uses his bellows of rage and deals 1 damage to the Man Crusher. The Wardens then charge into Kragnos. Kragnos tries to roar the Wardens but fails. The Wardens attack Kragnos and deals 3 damage. Kragnos then returns the favor and attacks the Wardens. The Wardens use all-out defense, preparing for the attack. Kragnos deals 7 damage. At the end of combat, the Wardens look to deal the first casualty to the Giants and use their time charge bombs. The Wardens kill off Kragnos and fly away. Holding 2 objectives and completing their battle tactic, the Duardin score 4 points. The Giants' battle tactic is surround and destroy. The Kraken Eater uses heroic recovery and the Admiral uses heroic leadership. Then the Wardens rally back 2 models. Then King Broad prays and receives Might of the Earth. Healing Kraken 2, Man Crusher 3, the other Man Crusher 1. The Kraken Eater shoots at the lone Endrin Rigger and kills him. Kraken attempts to charge and uses Forward to Victory to re-roll, but still comes up short. Holding more objectives than the Kharadron and completing their battle tactic, the Giants score 5 points. The Kharadron win priority and choose to take the first turn. The Kharadron battle tactic is intimidate the invaders. The Navigator uses heroic leadership and the Kraken uses heroic recovery. The Endrin Master uses his Endrin Master ability and heals the frigate 3. The Navigator uses his Read the Winds ability and then uses his Stormcaller ability and deals 2 damage to the Man Crusher and halves his movement. The Wardens rally and return 1 model. The Wardens move close to the frigate and embark. The navigator then disembarks. The admiral then uses fly high on the frigate. The Kraken redeploys 1 inch. The Argonaut Company shoots at the Kraken. The Kraken uses all-out defense. The company does 8 damage. The Wardens shoot at the Kraken and deal 2 damage. Then the frigate shoots at the Kraken and deals 6 damage. THR frigate uses the footnote, "There's no reward without risk." The Kharadron uses their bloodthirsty triumph to re-roll the charge and charges into the Man-Crusher. The frigate deals 3 damage with its assault boat ability. The Endrin Master and Sky Wardens are selected to exit the boat and receive strike first. The Man-Crusher fails to stomp the Endrin Master. The Master then attacks the Man-Crusher and kills him. On the brink of death, the Man-Crusher wobbles and falls away from the Duardin, dealing no damage. Holding 2 objectives and completing their battle tactic, the Kharadron score 4 points. The Sun's battle tactic is led into the Maelstrom. Kraken Eater uses heroic recovery. Broad prays and fails and takes 1 damage. Kraken attempts to charge and fails, but uses forward to victory to re-roll and charges into the Argonaut Company and deals no damage with his crushing charge. The company unleashes hell on the Kraken and deals 8 damage. Broad attempts to charge but fails. The Man-Crusher charges into the Navigator and deals 3 damage with his crushing charge. Kraken then uses the earth-shaking roar and makes 4 models flee. Then the Man-Crusher stomps the Navigator to death. The Kraken piles in and stuffs 2 more dwarves into his net. Kraken attacks the company and deals 17 damage. The Admiral uses Inspiring Presence on the company, holding more objectives than the Duardin and failing their battle tactic. The Suns score 3 points. The Kharadron win priority and take the first turn. The Kharadron battle tactic is Stake a Claim. Admiral uses Heroic Leadership and Kraken uses Heroic Recovery. The Endrin Master uses his Endrin Master ability and heals the frigate 3. The Man-Crusher redeploys. The Admiral disembarks from the frigate. The Admiral uses Prosecute Wars with all haste footnote to run 2d6. Next, the frigate moves over the Kraken and uses its bombing racks and deals 6 damage. The frigate shoots at Broad and deals 2 damage. Next, the frigate charges into Kraken. With the assault boat ability, the Endron Master ejects from the boat and the frigate kills off the Kraken Eater. The Wardens attempt to charge into the Man Crusher and uses Forward to Victory to re-roll the charge but fails. Holding 4 objectives and completing their battle tactic, the Duardin score 5 points. The Sun's battle tactic is Reprisal. King Broad uses Heroic Recovery and Admiral uses Heroic Leadership. King Broad prays and receives Pummel all to dust. The frigate redeploys. The Man Crusher charges into the Wardens and deals 2 damage. Broad then charges into the frigate and deals 0 damage with his crushing charge. Broad roars the frigate and the Man Crusher stomps the Wardens and deals 2 damage. The Man Crusher piles in and fails to stuff anyone into his net. The Man Crusher then attacks the Wardens and deals 2 damage. The Wardens then strike back and deal 8 damage. Broad then attacks the frigate and takes it down. Holding more objectives and completing their battle tactic, the Suns score 5 points. After suffering major casualties, the Kharadron Overlords barely survive the Giants' onslaught and take the win.